Hello dear students, welcome to Department of Chemistry, KTHM College Nasik. So student, in our previous lecture, we started our discussion about the thermal technique. The technique in which the change in physical and chemical properties of the substance are recorded as a function of heat is known as a thermal technique. In thermal technique, more especially, we started our discussion about the TGA, thermogravimetric analysis. In an thermogravimetric analysis, the change in weight of the substance is recorded as a function of a time or temperature. We studied the principle of a thermogravimetric analysis and even the instrumentation of a thermogravimetric analysis. In an instrumentation, we studied the different component, and one of the important component was the recorder, and in that we conclude that the strip chart recorder is the best for getting a better output in a very short period of a time. And finally we got a output in the form of a spectra. We call it as a thermogram. The result obtained from the instrument of a thermogravimetric analysis is a thermogram. We call it as a TG curve. Now in this lecture we have to discuss about the various factors affecting the nature of a thermogram, that is the TG curve. The factors affecting or influencing the factors affecting the nature of TGA, or you called TG curve. So different factors influences the nature of a thermogram, that is the thermogravimetric spectra. Probably the factors are classified into two categories. The first one is a instrumental factor and second one is the sample factor. First of all, we will discuss about the instrumental factors. Instrumental factors. Instrumental factor. The first important instrumental factor is the heating rate. First one, heating rate. More is the heating rate, more will be the temperature required for their decomposition. Because we know that in a thermogravimetric analysis, we are going to decompose the material, and upon decomposition, or you can say that during the decomposition, whatever the change in weight is observed is recorded as a function of temperature. So if the heating rate is higher, the decomposition will take place at the higher temperature, and therefore we can write about the heating rate. Higher is the heating rate. Higher is the heating rate. Higher will be the decomposition temperature. Higher will be the decomposition temperature. We can have an example. Suppose if we took an example of the polystyrene, for example, polystyrene. The polystyrene decomposes at about 374 degrees Celsius temperature. It decomposes 374 degrees Celsius if the heating rate is 1 degree Celsius per minute. And if we heat the polystyrene at about 5 degrees Celsius per minute, then the decomposition temperature is 394 degrees Celsius. These two values indicate that if we increase the heating rate, the decomposition will take place at higher temperature. If the heating rate is lower, obviously the decomposition temperature will be the less. The most important thing is that the decomposition is at either higher temperature or lower temperature, but after decomposition the weight remains the same. It is the most important thing. What I told here, the decomposition may be at higher or lower temperature, but the weight remains the same. It means that heating rate will never affect the final temperature of the substance, or you can say the residue, after their decomposition. So it was the first factor from the instrument. Second is the furnace atmosphere. Second instrumental factor is furnace atmosphere. In an instrumentation, we saw that atmosphere controller is one of the important component. The role of the atmosphere controller is to control the atmosphere inside the furnace, because the atmosphere inside the furnace will affect the temperature, and therefore we should maintain the temperature with the help of atmosphere inside the furnace. In order to maintain the constant atmosphere in the furnace, we have a certain provisions, certain methods are used. So the methods used are the temperature, you can write directly atmosphere. The atmosphere inside the furnace can be maintained constant by number of ways are there to maintain the temperature. The first one is nothing but the dynamic air, means forcing a compressed air from the cylinder through the furnace. The first way is a dynamic air. Dynamic air means what? Compressed air. Forcing the compressed air from the cylinder through the furnace. Second way is the static air. Static air means atmospheric air. In this case, the atmospheric air is allowed to pass through the furnace. We call it as a blowing. Blowing the atmospheric air through the furnace. And third way, I will call it as a C, is the inert air. And we know that nitrogen gas is used as an inert gas. So blowing the nitrogen free from the oxygen through the furnace. Blowing N2 gas free from O2 through the furnace. So these are the three different ways to maintain the constant atmosphere inside the furnace. Again, the question arises in our mind, why we need to maintain the constant atmosphere in the furnace. We will take an example of a decomposition of calcium carbonate. Suppose calcium carbonate upon heating decomposes, it will give the calcium oxide along with the liberation of carbon dioxide as a gas. Once the carbon dioxide gas is liberated in a furnace, the atmosphere inside the furnace will be saturated with carbon dioxide. And you know that carbon dioxide gas absorbs the heat. Heat absorber. It means it changes the temperature of the furnace. It means it will causes the interruption in the thermogram, that is the TC curve. It was just a simple example. The same thing happen with other substances also. Because in this technique we are going to decompose every substance, and upon decomposition a very small molecule will be evolved in the form of gases, and once the atmosphere in the furnace become saturated with the evolved gases, they will increase or decrease the temperature of the furnace, and obviously will overall affect over the TG curve. So it was the second case, we will call it as a second instrumental factor. Now the third instrumental factor is the geometry of the crucible, or you can say the sample holder. Third one, geometry of crucible, that is the sample holder. Now as per as the discussion about the important component, we studied the various type of crucibles. So the number of type of crucible can be employed for the thermogravimetric analysis. For example, someone can use a flat crucible. Next to that, deep crucible, then partly covered crucible, then a static crucible. But among all these possible crucibles, the flat crucible is preferred. Flat crucible is preferred because during the decomposition, whatever the gases will be liberated can be escaped, can be removed very easily if the crucible is a flat one. So it was an account about the instrumental factor. Now we will move towards the sample factor, which will affect the thermogram or thermogravimetric analysis. If you wish to note it, you can take a screenshot. Now the sample factors. Sample factors. The first sample factor is a weight of sample. First one. The small weight of a sample will produces a better result, because obviously once the weight of sample will be the higher, the another phenomenon may take place. For example, occlusion, precipitation, post precipitation, etc., etc. In order to avoid such a type of operations, such a type of reactions, that is the co-precipitation, coagulation, accumulation, the sample weight should be the small as possible. My intention is to tell you that the small sample will give a better result. Small sample gives better result. Then second one is the size of a sample. Size of a sample. Here we are going to discuss about the particle size of the sample. The small size particle decomposes at a lower temperature, while the large size sample decomposes at a higher temperature. The small size samples decomposes at lower temperature, while large size sample decomposes at higher temperature. So it was the second sample factor. The third sample factor is the heat of a reaction, because heat of reaction is one of the important characteristic of any substance. Heat of a reaction. We call it as an enthalpy of a reaction. During the decomposition, obviously decomposition is one of the operation, and any operation is known as a chemical change or chemical reaction. So during the decomposition, some sample releases heat energy. We call it as an exothermic. Some sample during the decomposition absorb the heat energy. We call it as an endothermic. So obviously, endothermic reaction decreases the temperature of furnace, and exothermic reaction increases the temperature of a furnace. The exothermic reaction increases the temperature of a furnace, while endothermic reactions decreases the temperature of a furnace. And we know that once the furnace temperature will be affected, it will cause a consequence over the thermogram, that is the thermogravimetric curve. Okay. Now the next one, fourth factor, which belongs to the sample category, is compressed size particles or sample. Many times our substances or analyte is compressed very tightly. Big particle is formed due to the compression. And during the decomposition, the first thing is to make the molecule free. Means intermolecular force of attraction should be broken first of all. And afterward, the molecule undergoes their breaking, cleavage, or we call it as a decomposition. So obviously, the compressed sample requires a high temperature to decompose, because some heat energy is utilized to break the intermolecular force of attractions. And in case of a non-compressed sample, the whatever heat energy is provided will be directly utilized to break up the bond between the molecules. So conclusion is that the compressed sample will decompose at higher temperature. Obviously, non-compressed sample will decompose at the lower temperature. The compressed samples decomposes at higher temperature, while non-compressed samples decomposes at a lower temperature. So students, it was an account about the factors affecting on the nature of a thermogram. We studied the instrumental factor and a sample factor. If you want to note these points, you just took a screenshot so that we will proceed for the next discussion. Now the applications of a thermogravimetric analysis. Applications. Thermogravimetric analysis. The first important application of thermogravimetric analysis is to determine the correct drying and ignition temperature of the analyte or the sample. To determine the correct drying and ignition temperature. First one, to determine correct drying and ignition temperature of the substance. Because in many more cases, we have to dry the sample, and in order to dry the sample, we must know the correct drying temperature. Otherwise, if we kept the sample in an oven at lower temperature, the moisture remains as it is. And if we kept at the higher temperature, sometimes decomposition may take place in oven itself. So in order to have a correct drying temperature, we can go through the thermogravimetric analysis. The second important application is to determine the purity and thermal stability of primary and secondary standard substances used in the titrimetry. Second application, to determine the purity and thermal stability of primary and secondary standard substances used in titrimetry. We know that in titrimetry we have to use various types of solutions, various types of substances. Basically, they were categorized into the primary standard and secondary standard. The solution whose concentration does not changes with the time and temperature, and which can be obtained in the purest form, is known as a primary standard substances. For example, potassium dichromate is there. Secondary standard substances are those which cannot be prepared in their purest form and whose concentration changes with the time and temperature. In order to have an correct, more precise and accurate result, we use a primary standard substances because they are prepared in the correct or pure form and their concentration does not changes with time and temperature. So this purity and their thermal stability can be determined by using a thermogravimetric analysis. Basically, the thermogravimetric analysis is studied to determine the decomposition of organic, inorganic and polymeric substances. The third one, the decomposition of organic, inorganic and polymeric substances. Can be studied. हम उसके एग्जाम्पल देखने वाले ही हैं. We can use the thermogravimetric analysis for the organic, inorganic as well as the polymeric substances. The next one is to study the solid state reaction. Fourth one, to study the solid state reaction. Because we know that thermogravimetry has a very important limitation, that this technique can be used for only solid. We cannot apply TGA for the liquid as well as the gases. Next thing, to determine the mechanism, to study the mechanism of a polymeric material. Fifth application, to study the mechanism of a polymeric substances. Even this technique is used for the study of mechanism of a complex mixture, because there are many more complex compounds are formed during the synthesis, both in organic synthesis as well as inorganic synthesis. which is very difficult to predict their structure. And therefore, for that purpose, we must go through their mechanism. And this mechanism can be studied and can be interpreted with the help of thermogravimetric analysis. Next one. To study the mechanism of complex mixture. To study the mechanism of complex mixture. Roasting and calcination, these are the two different processes. Roasting and calcination. In both the cases, heat is provided to the substance. In one case, heating is without oxygen. In another case, heating with oxygen. So, the roasting and calcination of the minerals can be studied by TGA, because these two processes, roasting and calcination, is very famous in case of minerals. So, the next application, the roasting and calcination of minerals can be studied by thermogravimetric analysis. Rate of reaction, that is the kinetic, we call it as a chemical kinetic. It is also important factor. So it also gives important information regarding the chemical kinetics. TGA gives important information regarding the chemical kinetics. And the last one more application is that to determine the amount of water present in the clay, soil, or any another sample, to determine the percentage of water present. To determine the percentage of water in a clay, soil sample, etc. So student, it was an account about the applications of a thermogravimetric analysis. In fact, many more applications are there. We discussed the few important applications over here. So if you wish to note it, you can take a screenshot. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this session. In this lecture, we will stop here. In our next lecture, we will discuss few examples of thermogravimetric analysis. Thank you.